Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Thanksgiving edition of the Roll Stable podcast. We hope everyone had a safe and happy holiday and are still enjoying their weekend. This is going to be another fun episode. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. First, we're going to have a quick look at what's happening at UCM. Depending on when you're listening to this, Mules and Jennies basketball got their season started, finally. More than 8 months since the final game last spring, UCM Athletics is back to playing MIAA-sanctioned competition. And if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, we have another home game tomorrow afternoon against Pittsburgh State. Jennies playing at 1 and the Mules at 3. It's going to be the last home game before January. Fans are encouraged to check the UCM and MIAA websites for up-to-date fan information regarding Mules and Jennies home and road games, as all arenas are currently operating at limited or no fan attendance. With that out of the way, let me introduce today's guest, an all-conference setter on the Jennies Volleyball team from Prairie Village, Kansas, Ally Offerdahl. Ally, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First things first, the Thanksgiving edition. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
I would have to say
you can name more than one.
Okay, good. I would have to say stuffing and green bean casserole. My two favorite.
Wow,
Plus turkey. That was a given.
A couple of out of the ordinary favorites there.
I know. I've always liked them, and they are my favorite. I don't know.
Now I'm
odd.
From the East Coast. I never really heard of it called dressing. Is that a thing? People call stuffing dressings. They do that out here?
I don't think so.
No, maybe that's more southern than
probably
than Midwest. Do you have any favorite maybe family traditions, or does Jennies Volleyball do anything around Thanksgiving time?
Jennies Volleyball, we're usually in season. We're usually getting to the postseason. If we make it to postseason, we usually can't go home for Thanksgiving. Maybe Flip will give us the Wednesday and Thursday off. Mm-hmm. But then we'll have to come back for the weekend. But other than that, Jennies Volleyball doesn't really have Thanksgiving traditions.
So you just kind of do maybe a Friendsgiving type thing?
Yeah, we'll do Friendsgiving. Maybe get together with the team and have a dinner. But my family usually, it's kind of different now because I am the youngest of all my siblings. Mm-hmm. So my oldest brother is married, so he will go to his wife's family for Thanksgiving. But we'll usually do it on the Sunday after so we can all be together. We'll just cook all day, play some board games, hang out with our dogs, go play outside, and then have a nice Thanksgiving dinner.
Is there anything from your childhood maybe that you guys maybe always did every single year, kind of a tradition? Family-wise?
Nothing comes to mind
pretty
now.
Ordinary.
Yeah, pretty ordinary, but it's fun. I love hanging out with my family. For sure. Dinner. For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You said you're the youngest, and that's of how many siblings?
I have 3 older siblings. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister.
And, of course, your older sister, Carly, played here on the Jennies Volleyball team. How cool was that for you to get to play with your sister?
I loved it. She was the main reason I came to this university. She's 2 years older than me, so I got to play with her for 2 years in high school when I was a freshman and a sophomore, and then I got to play with her 2 years here, and it's incredible to play with my family, and my parents loved it to see us both on the court competing for the same thing.
Right, and your parents came to, I think, at least every home match. I saw them at a number of
100%.
road matches too. Did that go into your thinking of where to play, that they could watch you?
Yeah, I definitely thought about that in my recruiting process too. If I went to a different school, maybe in the MIAA or even out of conference, they would have to split up, and they couldn't be at every one of our games, which I know they would have made it work, but they wouldn't have liked it not seeing us both at the same time every game. So that was a big factor in where I chose to go to school, and I'm glad I chose here for my parents and to play with my sister again.
I've always thought as Jennies Volleyball as kind of a familial team, mm-hmm. more so than others. And it's kind of funny. I've thought about this before, how many siblings we've had on the same teams, not just in volleyball, but football, track and field, those sorts of things. I think part of what makes Jennies Volleyball so familiar is the coaching staff, and then obviously you played with your sister. You had a pair of sisters in the Hollands, Casey and Kylie Holland. Can you kind of talk about that familial aspect of Jennies Volleyball?
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I loved playing with my sister, and then also Casey and Kylie Holen, they were two sisters on the team as well. So 4 of us. It was kind of it was a different aspect, and it was really cool. My Caitlin, my coach, I had been playing for her since I was 15 years old. She was one of my assistant club volleyball coaches, and she was one of Carly's coaches too. And so coming here and like having that background and that history with her, it's really unique. Playing for her for a long time and playing with my sister, it's just like really cool. Like having that history and coming here, having the familial history and that background, that aspect is really, really cool.
And what about growing up when you were still in elementary school, middle school, high school? Were you always following Carly or some of your brothers, or did you kind of create your own path?
Well, my sister, she was super, super active when she played every sport known. She played softball, basketball. We rode horses for a while. And then I think it was beginning of high school or maybe 8th grade is where we really got into volleyball because we both played soccer, but we hated the cold.
Okay.
Like we
So
could
you wanted to
not.
play inside.
Yeah, we wanted to be inside. So.
And when did Kansas typically play soccer? Was that in the fall or the spring?
I think it was the winter and spring.
Winter and spring. So
yeah, so
you started out
pretty
cold.
cold. Yeah, so we were like, let's try an indoor sport. So we started with volleyball and loved it, and now we're here. So worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Did you do anything else in high school other than volleyball? Maybe because volleyball is a
It's
is that
a
a spring
fall
sport?
It's a fall sport.
It's a fall sport
Yeah.
in Kansas. Okay. Did you
So
play anything in the spring in high school?
no, I didn't, because I actually grew up in Columbia, Missouri, but played club volleyball out in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 nights a week I would drive out to Kansas City for practice, so I didn't have time to do another sport in high school because I was too busy like traveling for club ball.
Okay. So
So
where did Prairie Village come from? I've always known you and Carly as being from Prairie Village, Kansas.
I honestly don't know. My dad's business, we lived in Columbia, and then he got into the Big Biscuit business, and then we just moved out there in the middle of my high school
That
experience.
almost sounds like a metaphor. You get into the Big Biscuit business. For those that don't know, Big Business it's a breakfast restaurant, right? A
Yeah,
chain.
yeah,
Like a
breakfast and
bunch of them.
lunch. Yeah, it's pretty good. You should try it sometime.
I've been there. It is good.
But yeah, I think we moved into a really nice school district. One of the girls I played club ball with, she lived there, went to that school. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll, move into that area. And it's really nice, and I love it. So.
And that's where your family currently is now?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you moved there?
When I was
How long?
16.
16.
Mhm.
Okay. Was there a big difference between Columbia and Prairie Village?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Columbia, it's a big town, but obviously Kansas City is a lot bigger. There's more to do. I mean, I love the area I live in now. I love the area I lived in Columbia. But there's just like a lot more to do around Kansas City.
Sure.
That's about it.
So other than it being an indoor sport and away from the cold, where did kind of your love of volleyball come from?
So in Columbia, I grew up playing. My sister grew up playing for the Krecklos, which were the coaches at Mizzou volleyball, and so like we all played sports together, and then we all just tried volleyball and have loved it ever since. So it's just like I started playing when I was 12 or 13, I think, and I loved every second out of it.
Did you kind of pick it up right away? Were you a natural at it?
I think so, yeah.
And were you always a setter? Did you play other positions, kind of move around?
I started out as a libero because I played 2 years up on my team, so I was like really short and really young. So I played libero, and then I moved to a different club, and that's when I became a setter. And the rest is history.
You moved to, is it PVA?
Yeah.
Kate's Club?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. This year, obviously, didn't get to play.
Right.
I want to know more about kind of your thoughts as COVID kind of took form. You lost your spring season. Back in April, did you ever think that this would still be an issue come September, October, November?
I definitely, like, when COVID first, hit, I definitely thought, oh, this will be fine by the fall. Like, I'll still get my senior season. We'll just have to tough it out through the rest of the spring and the summer, and, everything will be back to normal. And I was totally wrong. When we heard that we weren't going to have a season I know I was, and I'm sure my team, we were devastated. Like, I didn't get my senior season. The freshmen didn't get their starting season. And, the juniors and sophomores, I'm sure we were all just, like, really upset. Like, we didn't think this was going to happen. It's been 6 months since COVID hit. We were just like, I can't believe this is happening to us. I think we were just, like, speechless.
But it turns out you still can get your senior season back. Is that something you've thought about, coming back and playing again next fall?
Yeah, for sure. I will still be in school. I'll still be doing nursing next fall. So I talked to Flip. I talked to my coaches. I was like, I definitely want to come back. I want to have my senior season. I want to play with these girls that I've been playing with for 4+ years. I want to, end my volleyball career with them, because we're not getting a normal senior season.
And I think what's good about this team is that you're not alone in that you're a senior coming back for next year. I've had these conversations with Flip and Caitlin, and I think a lot of people in your senior class also want to play next fall and we're planning on being here anyway, maybe finish with their eligibility, but we're still going to do a graduate class or something like that here.
Right.
So over the summer, were there things you were able to do either on your own or kind of with the team to prepare yourself for the fall, but I guess when you thought you still had a season?
Right. So, we still work out over the summer. We can't be here unless we're taking classes. So most of it is, do it on your own. We get summer workout programs from our weights coach, but we're at home doing this, so it's kind of an accountability thing to see if you like working out. We do get to go to camp. We usually go for a week, but obviously it was different this year with COVID. But we got to be together for a couple days this summer, work out and play a little bit. And playing after not being able to play for 3 months out of the spring that we usually would, it was really nice to get back with the girls and be on the court.
Was there anything in particular that you maybe learned about yourself during, I guess, this whole thing of not being able to play and not being able to be around people?
Yeah, so I've always, being around people, I love social interaction. I love doing things, being adventurous. But obviously not doing that for a couple months was kind of hard. So, I did pick up a couple new hobbies. Like I would go walking with my nephew and my brother. I actually picked up photography a little bit.
Okay.
I'm trying, but we'll see how it works out. But yeah, it was just a lot of downtime. So I had to figure out how to fill that and not be bored out of my mind. Was outside a lot, went to the lake, but yeah, it was just accountability working out, because it's we might not have a season. I don't need to work out.
Sure.
But it's I want to work out for myself, and I want to be in shape, in case we do have a season. So. Sure.
So you mentioned you picked up photography. Is there anything in particular that you like taking pictures of?
No. I just, I had a camera. I bought myself a camera, last year, maybe 2 years ago. But it was just, I was super, super bored. And I was I'll just try to go take pictures of whatever. So I would take my sister and my friends out. We would go to the Nelson and walk around there, and we would just take pictures and fill the time. But I don't think I'm that good. Well, I don't really have an eye for it, but
any Jennies Volleyball fan can tell you that they've seen your mom taking pictures at every single match. So you're kind of following in her footsteps with this?
Yeah, a little bit. My mom, she loves taking pictures and showing everybody and posting them all over Facebook, and everyone loves it, I hope.
I would guess. She even took pictures during the warm-ups, not even the actual game. So
right.
By the time you and your sister got finished with you 3 years, Carly with 4 years, was she here for 5 years?
No, she did redshirt, but she only stayed for 4 years. Yeah.
So we're looking at 5 or 6 years worth of 30+ games of pictures. She must have 1 million pictures.
Yeah, yes, a lot of pictures. She loves it.
Has she been helping you out, learning how to take pictures?
Yeah, so she has obviously a really, really, really nice camera, and mine's just, this little tiny one. But she is teaching me a lot about, different settings and lighting and whatever. I think it's pretty cool. I think I'm going to get into it, once I'm out of school.
All right. Well, when I need a photographer at a game, I'm going to call you up next time.
Okay, for sure.
We'll see how good your skills are. But they can't be that much worse than mine. So
okay.
I'm sure you would do great. So you have had some chances to practice a little bit with the team. I don't even know how many times you've had the full team out there. It can't be
not a
very
lot.
much.
Yeah.
But going into this spring and then next fall. What can you tell us about Jennies Volleyball that we could look forward to?
Yeah, so we're supposed to be playing a couple games this upcoming spring. I think it's like 10 or 15 games, just enough for us to not lose our eligibility for the fall. But we've been working really hard. Obviously, like the whole team, we got together I think twice at the beginning of this semester, and then people had to go into quarantine or people had class, and it's been really tough. But like keeping each other accountable. And just keep working towards our common goal of wanting to compete next fall and in the spring. We have to keep like a strong mindset, keeping each other accountable. I think we're working really hard, and we would love to see some fans if they're allowed to come at our spring games and in the fall next year. So
now, who are some maybe newcomers or someone who didn't get a chance to play a lot last year that may surprise Jennies Volleyball fans if they are allowed to come into the arena?
Let's see. I know Kirsty, she has been working super, super, super hard. She is a sophomore this year. And when she came in this fall and we got to play, I was, super impressed. She'd been working hard all summer. I saw on her Snapchat story, she was at the gym almost every day. Her and Sydney and Jackie, they all worked really hard over the summer. Coming after their freshman year, they're like, I need to, work harder so I can get a chance to play. And I love that because if we're all not working at the same level, then, we're not pushing each other and we're not like helping the team get better. Because if it's only the starting six that are like, I'm working really hard, we're not getting motivated from the bench to work that much harder.
And so as we've seen, you can't count on anything this year in terms of who's going to be able to play and practice and who's going to be sitting out for a week or two.
Yeah, you never know, because I know we had a scrimmage a couple weeks ago and I was doing my return to play because I did come down with COVID and I wasn't able to play, and so the other setters they were working really hard all fall and they got the chance to play, which was awesome for them, and I was so happy. And you never know who can or can't play. So
that's right. I want to talk a little bit about your two coaches. Okay. Flip and Kate. Kate was a UCM Hall of Famer at your position at setter. Mm-hmm. Flip is Flip. I mean, he's just an all-timer in this sport. Everybody knows who he is. He knows everything about volleyball. What can you say about your two coaches?
Yeah, I love my coaches. They were a big reason that I came to this university too. As I mentioned before, I've been playing for Caitlin since I was 15, so I've known her. She's been my setting coach ever since I started being a setter, so I've learned everything from her. And good thing, because she's in the Hall of Fame, so I know that I'm learning.
Learn from, yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm learning the right things. Flip, he's a character. I love Flip. He's goofy, but he knows a lot about volleyball. Sure. He knows. Sometimes he does things, and I'm like, Flip, that is crazy. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you putting this girl in this position or whatever? And it works, and I'm like, his knowledge is just out there, and I don't even know what to say. He's awesome.
There's plenty of times I've seen him in games challenging officials and knowing more about the rules than they do.
Right. He's like, you don't know what that means, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Flip, I don't even know what that means, and I'm out here playing. Yeah, I love him.
I think it was 2 years ago that Kate was inducted into the UCM Hall of Fame. Do you remember? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was 2018, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Uh-huh. How cool was that for you and the team to be kind of a part of Kate going into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so we all, we got dressed up and we all went to the induction of her being in the Hall of Fame. And I've always known her as my coach. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, she played, but she's my coach now. But seeing like the highlight video of her like actually playing and loving the game, and it was really cool to see her in action and doing what she loved and still doing what she loves by coaching. But it was a really cool aspect seeing all of her hard work and then all of her knowledge transferred to us and still helping girls fulfill their dreams. It was really cool to watch that happen.
Sure. And then speaking about Jennies Volleyball history, last year was 50 years of Jennies Volleyball. Mm-hmm. So you've been around for 3 years, but you've seen a lot of cool stuff with Jennies Volleyball history. Kate, your coach, going into the Hall of Fame, 50 years and that whole celebration. How much do you guys talk as a team about kind of the past of Jennies Volleyball and maybe living up to the aspirations that they set?
Yeah, so when it was the 50-year anniversary, we had all the alumni come for homecoming and whatnot, and it was really cool just to see everyone and alumni come and like share their experiences at UCM because they're different from ours now.
Mm-hmm.
But like living up and like holding up the reputation is like really important because we don't want to put a bad reputation or like hinder the name of Jennies Volleyball because I think it's a really unique program. And I don't want to be the one that like puts a bad name on it, So I take accountability on myself to keep the good reputation and like keep the high level of play for Jennies Volleyball.
I think that you have a sign on your door as you walk out. It says something about maybe honoring the past or something. What do you know off the top of your head what that quote is?
I do not know what the quote is. But yeah, we just got that like the door decal I think last year, and it really just like upgraded our locker room to like you are like once you enter and once you leave this locker room, like you are still representing Jennies Volleyball. Like people on campus know that you're on the Jennies Volleyball team, and you have to uphold that reputation and keep yourself accountable for Jennies Volleyball because there is a good tradition behind it and good history.
Yeah, it's got such a great reputation and cachet. People know. When they hear Jennies Volleyball, when they see the Jennies Volleyball bus pull up, that hey, this is a really top flight program. They've got a great history. What does it mean to you to be a Jennies Volleyball player?
I love being a Jennies Volleyball player. I'm so glad I chose this school. It does come with a lot of responsibility, but I know I can handle it. My teammates can handle it, and if they couldn't, they wouldn't have come here. But being a Jennies Volleyball player is like a great honor because I know my coaches hold us to a high standard and I hold myself to a high standard to keep up the reputation and keep up the good history of Jennies Volleyball. I wouldn't have chosen another school. I love it here.
Did you ever get offers or even visit other schools?
Yeah, I did. I did visit a couple other schools, mainly on the East Coast, like West Virginia. I think it was so long ago. But I loved it here so much. It's close to my family. My sister went here. I've known Caitlin, and I love it here. So I'm glad I made this decision.
And you came in, you started day one as a freshman, which I think is pretty rare, not just in volleyball, but across all sports here at UCM. You made an immediate impact. Is that something you expected to come in and start right away?
So I did not expect it. Caitlin had been working with me for a couple years, and she was like, "You're gonna need to work like super hard because there are older girls that it's their position first, and if you're gonna come in as a freshman and take their spot, you need to earn it, and you need to work hard." And so, all preseason, I worked my butt off. I tried to be first in every sprint, like lift the most weights, clean up my set location, and do everything that I could. So then on game day, coach would tell me like, "Hey, you're starting. And this is going to be our lineup for the next 4 months." And when he told me that,
it's now going on 4 years,
right?
Almost, at least with the center position.
Yeah, it was. I did not expect it for sure. I knew that I couldn't just come in here and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be the setter," because with that attitude, I wouldn't have got it. I work really hard. I still work really hard because I know that there are younger girls that they think they can take the position, and they definitely could if they work really, really hard. And so they push me to keep working hard and trying to make my team better.
Now, as the setter, you guys play a 5-1 system. Look at me, knowing volleyball.
Yeah, nice terminology.
You're really the focal point of the offense. That's kind of what the setter is. So whether you want to or not, you kind of have to be a leader on the court. How receptive were the girls to that on your first day as a freshman, being the new leader on the court, and how did you handle that?
It was definitely intimidating because there were fifth-year players and fifth-year hitters, and they're 22, 23 years old, and I'm 18, and I'm like a small freshman. And so, being the leader, it's a lot of responsibility. And I would have to tell these girls, like, you're going to go hit this position and run these routes and all that stuff. And, sometimes they'd be like, "I don't think that's a good idea," or like, "I think I'll get blocked, blah, 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 blah." And I'd be like, "No, you need to run this route." And sometimes we would get in a little argument, but I'd have to know my role as the setter, but also my role as the freshman.
Sure.
So it was tough at the beginning, but once we've been playing for a while and now that I'm older, I know like what is best for my team, what hitters hit best in what positions. It's just like knowing your team and having that experience with everybody.
How long do you think it took to gain that trust, both for them to trust you and for you to trust them?
Right. It was probably, all like my freshman season, probably all of preseason, because the juniors and the seniors were like, oh, she's just a freshman. She doesn't really know, and I had to earn that trust and earn their respect to say like, no, I do know what I'm talking about. And sometimes, you might not think it's the right way. And I know you have the older experience and more experience, but yeah, probably by our first game was probably when we locked it down and probably figured it out. So
how would you say that your maybe leadership style has evolved in 3 and 4 years now?
Right. So I have been playing with Audrey Fisher and Aubrey Bell since I was 15. I've been setting them for 7-8 years now. And so earning trust, I earned that when I was 15. So we just came to college, and everything just flowed on. But with other girls, it's kind of like you have to figure out how each other plays and what kind of like motivation works best for them. Like if you need to encourage them, if you need to tell them it's okay, or like yell at them to get to start playing, But it's kind of figuring out what kind of like teammate friendship, like motivational style that we need. But that didn't take. It takes probably like a game or two of playing, and then we're pretty solid for the rest of the year.
So would you say you've become more of a vocal leader kind of over the course of your career here?
Yeah, definitely. I was probably a bit quiet my freshman and sophomore year, but once I gained the respect and the confidence of my teammates, I have become more vocal and figured out what motivation my teammates need and what I need so we can play at a high level.
Can you talk about the difficulty of being a setter? There's probably a lot of people who don't know much about what goes into it, but
yes,
as a setter, you do a little bit of everything, not
right.
just, assists. You're digging out balls on defense. You put up some kills, blocks, you serve. So, you're out there for every single play. You're expected to touch the ball every time it's on your side of the net. I think I've seen studies, they put like a pedometer on setters and they run like miles in that little court. So
yeah.
Can you talk about the challenges of being a setter?
Yeah, it's a lot of physical toll because you have to, like the second ball is mine every time, unless obviously someone else like calls me off or I can't get to it, but I go out.
That's the expectation, is that you're getting that second ball every time.
I get every second ball no matter what. I do, it is a physical toll, but it's also like a mental toll because I also have to know what my hitters can hit best, what route they run best, but I also have to look at the other side of the court and see the blocking and like think about that aspect. So it is a lot of physical, like I'm doing all the skills and running everywhere, but after every game, like I have a headache because I'm like thinking so much during the game. But I love being the setter. I love being in the middle of everything, like deciding what plays to run, but also when it's not working out and we're not, producing that many kills and we're not winning, it's also like I have to take the blame for everything. And it is my fault sometimes because like, oh, I shouldn't have set that or I should have ran a different route even though like my hitters were hitting fine. So I have to, it is a mental toll, but it's worth it and I love it. I love being in the middle of it. But it's a lot of physical and mental stuff going into it.
That's very interesting, all those quick decisions that you have to make, on the court as the ball is in the air. You're thinking about, not messing up your hands and hitting a double, where you're going to set the ball, who you're going to set it to, who's on the other side of the court, and you're making these in tenths of seconds, hundreds of times during a game. That's kind of crazy to think about. I understand why you get headaches after the game.
I've also been a setter since I was 15, so like I kind of have gotten in the habit of just thinking about all those things, just like it's just a habit. So
if you were to take a quick look at our record books, you'll see your name up there in some career stats and season stats. You're going to go down as one of the all-time great setters at UCM. What do you do you ever think about kind of your legacy and how you would like to be remembered?
Honestly, I don't, because volleyball, it's a team sport, and I couldn't do anything without my team. If I don't have a pass, then I can't set, and if my hitters aren't producing kills, then I don't get assists. So I don't really think about like the personal aspect, like, oh, I need to get 3 more assists this game to reach this in the stat books. Like, that's not something that's really on my mind. I just do what is best for my team in that game at that moment.
There's one stat that I've had on my mind for quite a while,
Okay.
and I think that you're the person to do it. Jennies Volleyball hasn't had a player with a triple-double. It's 10-plus kills, assists, digs. I mean, I guess it could be blocks or aces, something like that. But I think the easiest path for you would be kills, assists, and digs.
Right.
That hasn't happened since 1997.
Okay.
You've been close. I think your career high is 8 kills.
Okay.
You've had a couple of like 6s and 7s. How can we get you to a triple-double? I want to see this happen.
It would be really cool to happen. Honestly, it's not something that I would be like, okay, this game I'm going to get this triple-double. Because if it's not the right moment to get these kills, or like if I am not producing the kills that game, I'm going to set my hitters, and it would be really cool if I could do that. But it's not something that, like, it's not like a personal sport. It's a team sport. And if everything's not flowing correctly, I'm not just only going to think about the record book. That makes sense. So, I don't know. It'd be really cool to see happen. We'll see what happens next fall. I'll try to get that for you.
Okay. Appreciate that. I'm going to let you know every time you get a little close. When you're at like 6 kills and we maybe are in set 4 or something, hey, Ally, you're getting kind of close here. Just give me a look. I'll be like,
a little more aggressive.
This is the one.
All right.
Other goals, whether they're personal, team goals, do you have those for your final season?
Yeah, I just want to make my team look as best as we can, perform at the highest level that we can. And being the setter, I can make that happen. I can motivate my team to want to produce kills, to want to put their bodies on the floor for every ball, play at the highest level we can. I would love to win the MIAA conference championship. We haven't done that since I've been here. But I think it's a common goal for this team to do next fall. That would really make our coaches proud, and then we could obviously move on to more postseason and win those games. I think that would be a pretty reasonable, challenging goal for us next fall.
What are your expectations for the spring? You said you're likely to get some games in, maybe somewhere between 10 and 20. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting there? What kind of volleyball are you expecting to be played?
Yeah, the atmosphere, it'll definitely be different because, we're not going to have a packed stand like we usually do. But we want to play. We want to get out there and play and do what we love and what we've been working hard for all fall. So we want to compete and we want to showcase that. We're going to play at the highest level of volleyball that we know how to play. And we want to show our fans and we want to compete. We think it's only going to be, I don't want to put anything on record, but I think it's only going to be like 10, 15 games. We'll see with like other conferences and what's going on there, but it's kind of all up in the air of what's going to happen in the spring. But we're hoping for next fall we're going to have a full season, get a little bit back to normal.
All right, before I let you go, we're going to round this out with some more Thanksgiving fun.
Okay.
We're going to play Thanksgiving food, take it or leave it.
Okay.
I'm going to name a Thanksgiving food. You're going to tell me if you like it or if you don't.
Okay.
We're going to start off with the classic turkey.
Take it.
Take it 100%. You putting gravy on it?
Yes.
Dark meat, white meat? What do you like?
White meat.
Okay. You already said stuffing and green bean casserole, some of your favorites. Those are actually the first 3 I put. Turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole. Look at that.
Take them all, for sure.
Pumpkin pie.
Take it.
And you guys, every year you do a pumpkin painting contest, right?
Yes.
What was your pumpkin this year?
Okay, unfortunately, I did not participate in it because I was so upset. I was in class, but all the pumpkins that my teammates painted were either really artsy or they were like really, really funny. And the pumpkin that won was a painting of Flip,
which is in his office right now. I've seen that. That's very, who painted that?
I think it was Olivia and Grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can check out all those pumpkins on Jennies Volleyball Instagram, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on, candy corn.
Take it.
I'm starting to sense a pattern here, Ally.
I love Thanksgiving.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah, leave it.
Either one. You could do like that canned one or like the really homemade
I'm not
craft
a big fan
cranberry sauce.
I'm not a big fan of cranberries.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I could take it.
You throw it on a sandwich or something.
Yeah, we'll
maybe.
see.
All right, last one I have mashed potatoes.
Oh, take it.
100%.
For sure.
Allie, this has been a lot of fun. I know you got to get going. I'm going to give you the final word here.
Oh, goodness. Well, thanks for having me. I love talking about everything. COVID's been a crazy time, but it's good to reflect on it and see what's going on with Jennies Volleyball. Thanks for having me today. I had a great time.
All right, everyone. For Ally Offerdahl, producer, engineer Tony Manzo, I'm Joe Hoffman. You can find previous episodes of the Roll Stable podcast at ucmathletics.com and the UCM Athletics mobile app, and all video episodes are available on the UCM Athletics YouTube page. Thanks for listening, and have a great holiday weekend.